Hey guys, today we're going to look at how we can empower ourselves in understanding the different types of relationships that we have and why we have them. Like, some relationships can be very tough work for us and other relationships can flow smoothly, and that can go through different points in our lives. So we can have great friendships, but our intimate relationships can be a nightmare. Or we can have relationships generally that are a nightmare through all walks of life, and it's to do with our basic attachment early on that we had as children. So if we look at attachment, it's the relationship between infants and their primary caregivers. It's responsible for shaping the success or failure of future intimate relationships, the ability to maintain emotional balance, the ability to enjoy being ourselves and to find satisfaction in being with others. When we've been through hardship in childhood and we've not had healthy attachment, this can play out then throughout our lives. So it's like we're taught the way to be in relationship dependent on our early relationships. So if we've been through heavy duty abuse, or even, the way somebody talks to us, the way somebody looks at us, if we've had unpleasant experiences in childhood, or we've had violence or sexual abuse, then this can play out in our adult relationships because we've learned a particular way of relating. So the good news is that the more knowledge we have, we're able to evolve our first early attachment situations that we've been through, but we have to look at them. There's no way around this. And what we can do is understand that codependency is in part a learned behavioral condition in a relationship where one person enables another person's addiction, poor mental health, immaturity, irresponsibility, or underachievement. Among the core characteristics of codependency is an excessive reliance on other people for their approval and sense of identity. And we can manage and heal this through psychoeducation. So an example would be if you've had a parent that was an alcoholic or a drug addict or abusive to you, then you're going to learn, or you're going to put up with, in later relationships, you'll put up with addiction, you'll put up with the poor mental health and the immaturity if you've had immature parents. And society, unfortunately, expects, however our parents have been towards us, that we've got to, do that magical thing, which is forgiveness. And that's not possible for some people that have been through heinous abuse. It can be a scar that we've been carrying around for lives that needs to heal. And, we might have had irresponsible parents, or, parents who've underachieved and then they've, wounded us for it. So we really need to look at our early upbringing to understand our current relationships that aren't working in our lives. We've got examples and styles here and stages. We've got secure, avoidant, ambivalent, and disorganized. And here is a small understanding of this. If we're in secure attachment, we have adults here that are more likely to be satisfied with their relationships, feelings, secure and connected to their partners without feeling the need to be together all of the time. Their relationships are likely to feature honesty, support, independence, and deep emotional connections. So what we can find is we might have healthy relationships with some people and feel secure, but then we'll have unhealthy relationships with others and we won't feel so secure. And the way this plays out is that we're going to meet people who've got their own attachment styles as well. So then we've got dynamics going on. So for instance, we then have dismissive avoidant or anxious avoidant attachment. And one of the two types of adult avoidant attachments, people with this attachment style generally keep their distance from others. They may feel that they don't need human connection to survive or thrive, and they can insist on maintaining their independence and isolation from others. These individuals are often able to shut down emotionally when a potentially hurtful situation arises, such as a serious argument with their partner or a threat to the continuance of their relationship. So you can see that if you have a secure attachment, somebody who's had secure attachment in childhood, and then they meet somebody that's dismissive avoidant, then that could cause issues for the person that's got, naturally secure attachment in that particular dynamic. Then the next one we have is anxious, preoccupied, or anxious resistant attachment. And those who form less secure bonds with their partners may feel desperate for love or affection and feel that their partner must complete them or fix their problems. While they long for safety and security in their romantic relationships, they may also be acting in ways that push their partner away, that invite them in. The behavioral manifestations of their fears can include being clingy, demanding, jealous, or easily upset by small issues. So again, if you are anxious, preoccupied, and then you partner up with somebody who's dismissive, avoidant, it's going to heighten your anxious, preoccupied, or anxious, resistant. And then also, if you are secure and you meet somebody that's anxious, preoccupied, you can begin to see the dynamics that are going to go on, and it's going to bring out different things in different people. Then we have fearful avoidant or disorganized attachment. And the second type of adult avoidant attachment manifests as ambivalence rather than isolation. People with this attachment style generally try to avoid their feelings because it is easy to get overwhelmed by them. And they may suffer from unpredictable or abrupt mood swings and fear of getting hurt by a romantic partner. These individuals are simultaneously drawn to a partner or potential partner and fearful of getting too close. Unsurprisingly, these styles make it difficult to form and maintain meaningful, healthy relationships with others. So when we begin to look at ourselves and we begin to heal, we'll be able to see that most of our relationships are of secure attachment, and that when we come across others that are dismissive avoidant or anxious preoccupied or fearful avoidant, we're able to, knowing this knowledge, we're able to see what other people are doing, and then we're able to gauge ourselves and also see if we want to take part in these other relationships that are not fulfilling to us. You know, it begins to give us a choice, which is really important. And that's the thing with knowledge. It enables us to think things through and then allow us to be a step ahead of the game and know that we're aiming for secure attachment overall. Then we have, when we've got a problem in relationships, we need to ask ourselves that what is the problem and what does the solution look like? Because we don't want to waste our lives in relationships with people that are causing us pain. We want to evolve and outgrow that. So, you know, this is a lot of inner work. It may not happen overnight, but when we begin to ask this question, we're definitely going to begin to evolve. We've got to know our worth, and this was a meme I found. So when someone treats you like you're just one of many options, help them narrow their choice by removing yourself from the equation. Sometimes you have to try to not care, no matter how much you do, because sometimes you can mean almost nothing to someone who means so much to you. It's not pride, it's self-respect. Don't give part-time people a full-time position in your life. Know your value and know what you have to offer, and never settle for anything less than you deserve. So again, we need to, you know, be thoughtful in for ourselves and our lives of what we're allowing in. And, you know, sometimes that's going to mean being on our own for a while and maybe finding things that we love to do and finding hobbies, rather than put up with something that's really dysfunctional, unhealthy, and making us unwell. Because there are types of relationships that are going to affect our health if we're always in fight and flight about a particular personal situation, or we're not getting our needs met. And it's a two-way street. And the other thing is that it's helpful to find somebody where you can discuss these things with, and, you know, to aim for a partner who's on the same level of consciousness as you, that you can begin to grow and evolve your early childhood wounding, and that you haven't got two adults playing this out and bouncing off each other and creating chaos. And the other thing is that we don't have to believe that every thought that comes into our mind, as we're healing through this, we need to really examine our thoughts and not just think that, you know, if we decide that we're not going to play along with something, that we don't want breadcrumbs anymore, that we're not just, you know, thinking that there's something wrong with us. We really need to examine what's taking place within a dynamic. We are allowed, so this is a good, you know, just to uplift us, you know, you are allowed to outgrow people and jobs. You are allowed to use your own voice, think your own thoughts, and dream your own dreams. You're allowed to distance yourself from anything that doesn't motivate you or help you grow. You're allowed to choose who has a say in your life and who doesn't, and you're allowed to change the terms of your life according to your own conditions. You are allowed to start doing things that please you. You're allowed to do things because you want, and you're allowed to be free to be who you are. You're allowed to see the world using your own eyes, to paint your own brush with your own brush, and using your own colors. You are allowed. So do know this, however, uncomfortable it gets. If you decide that you're ending, something, that we've got to redesign our lives and stop playing out our early attachment styles that really cause a lot of pain to us, because a whole life can go by in that same early dynamic and can ruin our lives. And it's not fair that for people who've been through trauma to not have a decent relationship. And there are decent people out there, and there are avoidant people. So we want to make sure that we're not getting, we're not spending time with somebody who's completely avoidant or completely disorganized and dismissive. We need to aim for what makes us, bring some joy into our lives. Life is not, a walk through the park all the time. Relationships are difficult. That's the nature of relationships, because we've got two people going through different things at different times, be it their health, their monetary stuff. But, relationships need to be supportive, and we need to be able to communicate our needs and have our needs individually met. Then we have it's important that we look at any early trauma, and the PTSD that we have. Complex PTSD is where we have many events from childhood, implicit memories and stuff that's gone on for a long period of time. PTSD is a general one-off event, but PTSD, complex PTSD, can cause us to avoid thinking about the trauma, which is where we disassociate. We can have flashbacks. We find it hard to concentrate. We have negative thinking. We have sleeping difficulties. We have feelings of guilt and shame. We might have negative moods. We might be hypervigilant and always on guard. We've got a loss of interest, and we'll have nightmares and stuff like that. That's just an idea. There's a lot more to PTSD and complex PTSD, but this helps to give an overview of what that means. We've got to give ourselves time in our healing. So like the caterpillar that becomes the cocoon and then turns into a butterfly, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's ongoing. So then what we can do is build a relationship with our inner child, which is really, really important, to be able to nurture and reparent our inner child where we've not had that proper parenting. And then a book that you can look at, if you're female, is Women Who Love Too Much. I have been told, which I am pleased to hear, that it hasn't got the word codependency in it in this book. And we can often use labels like narcissism against others or ourselves, or, codependency, and just, use quick terms and not understand what we're actually talking about at a deep level. And I think that, name calling and calling somebody a narcissist, or just saying, that, oh, you're codependent and that that's your problem. It's a lot deeper than that. We're multifaceted, and we need to really educate ourselves with the knowledge that goes deeper than just the throwaway words that we throw off at each other. We need to know our worth, and then add tax. That's just in case you want to feel good about yourself, then, it's just a little idea that we know our worth, and then we add to that. It's really important that we know our worth, because particularly if we've been through childhood where our worth has been completely denied and we've not been loved or acknowledged, then we've got to build that up in ourselves. Reparenting affirmations, which you can find quite helpful, which you can write out. It's in a book called Complex PTSD, From Surviving to Thriving. But this would be an idea. If you're reparenting affirmations, you would say to your inner child, I'm so glad you were born. You are a good person. I love who you are, and I'm doing my best to always be on your side. You can come to me whenever you're feeling hurt or bad. You do not have to be perfect to get my love and protection, and all of your feelings are okay with me. I am always glad to see you. It is okay for you to be angry, and I won't let you hurt yourself or others when you are. You can make mistakes. They are your teachers. You can know what you need and ask for help. You can have your own preferences and tastes. You are a delight to my eyes, and you can choose your own values. You can pick your own friends, and you don't have to like everybody. You can sometimes feel confused and ambivalent and not know all the answers. I am very proud of you. I'm so proud of you. So that's the way you would talk to your inner child, and a healthy parent would talk to their inner child. That you, as a child, you know, children, they would talk to children like that. A healthy parent. That's just the way it is. A healthy, loving, evolved parent. And parents, you know, it's not about perfection. You know, we all go through different emotions, but it's an idea that overall the love in the heart of a parent, a healthy parent, would naturally feel these things. This is the book that came from, and this is very healing for those who have complex PTSD, and as a result don't understand that the reason that they keep choosing people, it's not that we choose, it's just that people show up in our lives that have a particular style of relating to us, and we just accept it thinking that there's something wrong with us. We need to break the cycle and the pattern. And then I've decreased my, until the end of June, I'm doing $20 online. I'm doing general advice. I'm doing astrology, evolutionary astrology, chart readings, which helps us to evolve. I look at complex PTSD and learning, and I also teach people to do the tapping, which can be called, you know, as Faster EFT as well, a lesson and a session. So it's an hour, and you can read this. There's my disclaimer at the bottom there. And finally, we're here to bloom. So do be aware that we're forever blooming, and that we go through stages, and the more we heal, the easier life gets. That's it. I'm going to leave it there, and thanks for watching. Catch you later.